Dokkan All-Star Raid is here. Get your 275 Dragon Stones now. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the Dokkan All-Star Raid, what you can expect to receive for completing all 1,000 stages of this event, as well as talking about maybe some teams you can use to clear out most of the event. I'll probably only go over the leaders in this event, and you'll be able to catch my specific videos attached to a playlist in this attached to this video, where I go through the last 10 of the stages on video. So let's go ahead and jump into the first stage. Basically, the way this works is there are 1,000 stages in this Extreme Z Battle Raid, ranging all the way from the DB Saga enemies down to the last saga in Super Universe Survival Saga Tournament of Power. So you can see the way the stages are broken down are in sets of 100. So starting with Kid Goku at level 1 all the way to level 100, where you face off against Mutaito. It's all DB Saga category characters. And as such, the effective category for clearing out the mission faster is to use DB Saga. As you clear through the 100 stages, you'll get hidden potential orbs and dragon stones along the way. I think it's like every 5 stages you get a stone, and by the end of the 1,000 stages you will receive, I think, a total of 277 stones. So definitely a good thing to do, but it is a grind and will take some time. Like I said, my plan for tackling this is maybe once or twice a week, putting out a video for about the last 10 stages in each of the categories, because doing this all on a single stream or even a portion of it on stream, this, we're talking a couple hour-long videos here, so I doubt anybody wants to sit through that. So, starting with the first category, we have DB Saga. Like I said, the DB Saga is from Goku all the way to Mutaito. You'll want to use the effective category of Dragon Ball Saga. So, if you want to take on this stage, best bet is to use Kid Goku as your leader, or the free-to-play Mercenary Tao. He is a good option as well to take on the stage. Looking on, there are a few other options you can run, free-to-play wise, that won't necessarily give you the leader skill, but definitely units you can throw on the team to help you out, like the free-to-play Yamcha's, where is he, this guy, this LR Yamcha from the World Tournament, or the Demon King Piccolo, or the Bulma and the, what is this, Goku and Arale, are all good choices to throw on there. Otherwise, it is a very, very limited category, and you are, for any PUR characters, you're reliant on the World Tournament banner characters outside of the Goku here and this Roshi. So, good luck with this set of stages. It's a good thing that this is the early stage where it's not too difficult, especially even if you're using a non-effective category. So, moving on, next set of stages is the World Tournament stages, starting from the World Tournament Goku from the 23rd Martial Arts Tournament, all the way up to stage 130, where you face off against Feet Kamehameha Goku, is what I'll call that. The effective category is, in fact, World Tournament, and basically your only leaders are this free-to-play Yamu and Spopovich, or the LR Goku and Vegeta Jr. So it's basically your only options for World Tournament. This is definitely one of the harder groups to fill out, because this is your list of available characters to use. It's very, very limited. Most are free-to-play or available via World Tournament banners. Moving on, Pure Saiyans, probably the easiest of them, because, well, it's Pure Saiyans. So starting with the Goku and Chi-Chi here at 31, and all the way to 172 against the Great Ape Vegeta. So Pure Saiyan should be pretty obvious. You have a ton of options you can run, from the AGL Vegeta, the Raditz, Super Vegeta, Fizz Vegeta, or any combination of Saiyan-type teams, really. There are a lot of powerful units in the category, whether you're looking at TURs, LRs. Should be pretty simple, but these are the main leaders you can run. If you don't have any of these, there's always the free-to-play option with this Vegeta here, who's actually receiving his EZA this celebration. So it's definitely an option. If you started during the Dokkan anniversary, you also have access to this guy who can provide a 170, I'm sorry, not 170, a 77% lead for Pure Saiyans, which definitely can help, and I think at this stage it's more than enough to take on. It's still early enough. Moving on, next set of stages from 173 all the way to 242 is Planet Namek Saga. Basically, Bulma all the way to full power Frieza here. Effective category is Planet Namek Saga, so I'll just start closing these out as we go through here so it's easier to see. So Planet Namek Saga leads. The OG STR Goku is your best option for lead. Otherwise, the full power Frieza or the Ginyu. Sub leaders, you have the Int LR Goku if you've picked, and Vegeta if you've picked them up. Free to play options for Namek Saga, you do have the Vegeta and Krillin, the Gohan, or any one of the Ginyu Force members. You could probably blitz through this stage using the Ginyu Force, quite honestly, especially after EZA, and you run in a friend Ginyu Force leader. Okay, moving on. The next set of stages is the Heavenly Events category, starting from the Spice Boys here all the way to AGL Gohan. Very, very short set of stages here. What is that, 243 to 258? It's about 25 stages, so not that much, and as such, it's mostly because it's a very limited category. Basically, free-to-play option for a leader is the Krillin and Piccolo. Gohan is your main Dokkan Fest leader, who's actually available on Raditz's banner right now. So if you happen to pick him up, he will definitely help with this set of stages. There's also the Garlic Jr. here. Definitely a good option if you have them and you want to run an extreme variant. Moving on, next set of stages is the Android Cell Saga, starting from Mecha Frieza all the way down to stage 340 with the what is this? The Future Trunks Super Saiyan. So running here, obviously you'll want to run Android Cell Saga. You have a number of good options. If you picked up AGL Cell, obviously he's a great option since you can run blitz through the stage with a 200% team. For the superclass side of things, you have the AGL Cell along with the Int Cell. I mean, most people, if you've been playing the game for a while, probably have this guy, so he's a good option for a leader. As far as free-to-play options, there isn't much. There is the Baba Shop Krillin here for a 120 lead. Otherwise, you're stuck with the EZA Yard-Rat Goku. And honestly, at this stage, I would not recommend using a free-to-play leader. I mean, unless you're doing some kind of specific challenge, this is kind of where the difficulty starts to spike. Not insanely, but enough that a 77% lead is not going to cut it. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're using at least one of these sub-leads with the Int 16 or the STR Cell. Otherwise, use one of your main leaders here. You could probably get away with doing some other mixes depending on your availability of units, right? Like if you grinded out the Prime Battle Cell, but you didn't have these other cells, you could use him as an artificial life forms leaders and then run some of the free-to-play androids. There's definitely some options to work with. Kamehameha and Super Saiyans is always good too that you can use on the team. Moving on, we are looking at Otherworld Warriors, starting from the Angel King Cold to the Pycon. He is Int here. I'm not sure if he's still Int on Global, because for us, this Pycon is STR. So, not that it matters much. Otherworld Warriors, you're very limited on options for lead. Your only sub-lead is a free-to-play option with the Goku's Family Goku that EZA'd back on Goku Day. Otherwise, Otherworld Warrior leads options are the Int Goku, who some people probably picked up during the anniversary, or the Angel Golden Frieza. Not too many options there. There are some secondary options running like a Connected Hope style team, but still kind of limited, right? Because, yeah, most of the Connected Hope units that could be run under Pikkon or Gogeta if you have them do fall under time limits or Otherworld Warriors, so it can be done, but like I said, these are your main leaders here for Otherworld Warriors. Moving on, we have the Majin Buu Saga stage. This is a fairly easy stage with a lot of different options you can run. If you picked up the Majin Vegeta back during Saiyan Day, he's obviously the best leader next to the Kid Buu. Those are probably your best two leaders as they provide 170, a full 170 to Majin Buu Saga. Otherwise, there's the STR Goku and Vegeta, who were recently on the 7th anniversary, or the old school Super Vegito, Fizz Super Vegito. Wouldn't recommend him at this point in the game, right? Because we're on stage 300. Like I said, the difficulty has kicked it up a notch, and I'm honestly not sure how he can handle it at that point. You do have some good free-to-play options through the Prime Battle LR Bobby and Boo, where you could run an extreme variant, as well as the Baba Shop one. You also have the Easy Aid Int, Videl, and Gohan, or the Easy A Hercule and Boo if you're running a free-to-play team. Otherwise, I mean, like I mentioned before, I wouldn't recommend running a 77% lead at this point in the game. You definitely want a minimum of 120 or above at this point, when then maybe running a friend 170 or higher. Okay, there are definitely some options to play with, like Potara options or extreme variants. You could run Majin Power with the Fizz Buu, along with some of the other Majin Buu style units. So there's definitely options there to run besides just your plain Majin Buu Saga leaders. Moving on, next category is GT bosses. This is definitely going to be a hard one. Starting from stage 500, the difficulty at this point is kicking it up, right? We're still at 30% damage reduction, but these guys are starting to hit a lot harder. With the GT bosses, you're pretty limited. You have 17, you have the Sin, who was recently on the 7th anniversary banner, so if you didn't pick him up, you probably don't have a leader unless you picked up the 17 here. Otherwise, your next option is the Baba Shop LR Shadow Dragons, which, again, if you're a newer player, this might be a problem because it's a pretty hefty cost to pick up a copy of them. There is a free-to-play option, but he is not available on Global just yet with the Hyper Meta Rildo. He just Easy Aid on JP in their most recent celebration. So otherwise, I mean, you're pretty lacking. GT bosses is probably one of the worst categories. You could maybe run a Shadow Dragons variant using the Omega Shenron if you've got him Easy Aid. This Rildo here is only an STR, but no, there's not enough STR type leads to use here. So yeah, that's not really an option. This is going to be a hard one if you don't have any of these leaders, quite honestly. So best bet, find a friend 17 who can run androids, and then maybe run androids as your main, and then maybe rely on him for the effective damage and the damage reduction. That's about all I can think of as an alternative. Unless, of course, you have Omega, then run Shadow Dragons. That's definitely the option. Alright, moving on to the next category. This is probably one of the easy categories. Next category from stage 527 all the way to stage 632. We are looking at GT Heroes, right? So starting all the way up there and ending with, who's the final boss here? GT Goku. So not surprising, but the effective category is, of course, GT Heroes. Probably one of the most powerful categories in the game. GT Heroes, obviously you have the 7-year LR leads, you have the duo Goku and Vegeta, as well as any of these sub-leads here that can work through the Trunks and Goten, or the Goten and Gohan, or the free-to-play LR Goku and Vegeta Jr. Definitely some options. There are other options like running Shadow Dragon Saga, or Goku's family through the Goku lead, or this guy here, or like I said, Shadow Dragon Saga running the Int Gogeta here. There's definitely some options there to run. So, moving on to the next category. From GT Heroes, we jump into Shadow Dragon Saga, starting with, what is that? Raid Shenron, all the way down to the Super Spirit Bomb Goku. Shadow Dragon Saga leads you can use are obviously the Omega Shenron or the Int Gogeta, along with the Fizz Nova as a sub-lead. This Goku does have a 77% lead, but I would not recommend him. He will get you killed at this stage. Otherwise, you also have the Oceania Shenron as your options, but options are limited. You could run a GT Heroes variant, and you would just need to protect your GT Hero lead if you're not using the 7-year LR. Like if you're using the GT Goku or the GT Vegeta, just protect them from damage and then deal your main damage with your Shadow Dragon Saga units. Moving on, we are looking at the next set of stages, Goku's family. So starting with the Goku Jr. all the way down to the Goku and Vegeta Jr. units. Looking at them, obviously Goku family is one of the biggest categories in the game. It contains all Gokus, all Gohans, all Gotens, all Chi-Chis, etc. So best lead to run for this, unless you're trying for like the 200% lead with these guys, best lead to run is the LR Goku here, who runs a 180% lead. You have some other options here. Like I said, these guys run Goku's family, and if you're using Android Cell Saga units to do it, they are getting a 200% buff. You do have the GoPros. They could probably still be used as a base leader. I would definitely protect them at this stage in the game, right? We are at stage 600. There is a 35% damage reduction to be aware of if you are negative typing. So just keep that in mind, that in conjunction with their defense is falling off. Just be careful running them. This Goku and Gohan, if you happen to pick them up during Golden Week celebration, they are a good option. They are an insane option, to be quite honest. Otherwise, you can run GT Heroes variant with the sub-lead for the Goku here. There are a lot of other sub-leads you can use for the Goku's family, right? There is the AGL Super Saiyan 2 Goku, the Tech Kaioken Goku. If you have the Dragon Ball Heroes Goku, you can use him. And then free-to-play options are these guys, and these guys, all providing a 77% lead for Goku's family if you didn't have any of these. Obviously, there are other ways to build the team, right, with Super Saiyans, or through movie heroes using Goku's family unit. There are definitely ways to get around it if you didn't have any of the Goku's family leaders. Moving on, we are looking at Realm of Gods. Alright, starting from the Goku here, from the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, and ending with the Vegeta and Bulma. Realm of Gods category leaders are on global. We don't have these guys yet, so your options are pretty limited to the Zamasu, the Int UI Goku, who EZA'd last year during the 6th anniversary, or the Beerus. As far as sub-leads go, for 130%, you have the UI Goku here, you have the Zamasu and Goasu, you have the, South Supreme Kai. Free-to-play options, you have this Tech Supreme Kai or this Goku. I wouldn't recommend this Goku, and again, at this point I would not recommend using a 77% free-to-play lead. But these are your options for leaders to build a team around. If you're definitely going for a more Saiyan-type build, I would definitely go with the UI and this guy, if you've got them, because trying to run Beerus may be a bit difficult, especially if you don't have a bunch of other Beerus and Whis to fill out the team. Zamasu can work, but he's definitely on the weaker side nowadays, but he does work well when run with other Goku Black type characters, so definitely not a half bad option. Moving on to the next set of stages, this has actually two effective categories. So starting from stage 713 and ending at 746 with the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. You could use movie heroes or movie bosses to clear out this one. So we'll start with movie bosses. Recently EZA'd this AGL tier list is your best option for a movie boss leader. Otherwise, you have the Broly here, this Broly, or the Janemba as your primary 170% leaders, or 150% in the Janemba's case. If you didn't have them for 130 or 120%, you have the STR Broly, who was recently on the Gods banner during the 7th anniversary, the LR Broly here, or the free-to-play Broly here. Again, would not recommend using him at this stage in the game with the 77% lead. There are definitely other options you could run. You could run a Terrifying Conqueror Space Traveling Warrior mix through the Turleses and other type characters for movie bosses. But otherwise, I mean, that's pretty limited. If you have the Cooler, you could probably run him again for Terrifying Conquerors, or the Bojack Terrifying Conquerors, and probably still get away with it. So moving on to the next category, just again, still effective category for the same set of stages, movie heroes. Leads are the Gods or the AGL Gogeta. If you don't have any of those, there is the Gohan or the Bardock and Gine. There is the Fizz Super Saiyan Movie Heroes Gohan, or your two free-to-play options, who, again, I have to keep reiterating, I would not recommend at this stage of the game. But those are your options for leaders. There probably are a few workarounds running Super Saiyans with him if you have him. But, again, options are pretty limited as far as leaders go for this category. Moving on to Universe 6, starting from stage 747 all the way to stage 780 against Manoka, or, well, Beerus dressed as Manoka. Effective category is Universe 6. There's only two 170 leads, which are the Universe 6 Hit or the Kefla are the only two leads. You have a bunch of sub-leads with the Tech Caulifla, the Fizz Champa. Wouldn't recommend him as a lead because he himself will get you killed. There is the Vados. I don't think the stage disables dodge, so it is an option. And then your free-to-play options here. Definitely wouldn't recommend using them. There is a workaround to this. Like if you don't have hits, you could run Rapid Growth, Bond of Friendship using these girls if you have them. That is definitely an option. You could run a Pure Saiyans or Bond of Master and Disciple variant with the Kaba here is also an option, but he himself is not that great. But there's definitely some workarounds. You could run a Peppy Gals variant, running, where is she? Her, for Pure Saiyans or Peppy Gals. Definitely an option there with the STR Kale. Moving on to the next set of stages. Next is Defenders of Justice. This is a very short category stage because obviously it's a very limited category. Your only leader for Defenders of Justice right now on Global is the Videl. Otherwise, you have the two free-to-play options here, who again, I would not recommend using at this stage in the game. You could go a Universe 11 variant and use the Jiren as your leader. That is an option. You could also run these guys as a super class leader and just fill out the rest of the team with super class characters of different typings to get the 120% lead. That is also an option if you didn't have the STR Videl. But it's a pretty limited category, right? This is your list of Defenders of Justice type characters. Alright, moving on. Next is Future Saga from 791 all the way to 836. Future Saga is a category that's been around a while. We don't have these guys, so I'm not going to talk about them. But you could run the androids if you got them, the Fizz Gohan, or the old school Tech Trunks are your options. Sub-lead, pretty much your only sub-lead for right now on Global is this guy or the Prime Battle Trunks. Prime Battle Trunks can work, especially if you're running a more super class type variant. If you're running more Goku Black style characters, then I would definitely recommend running him as the lead. So, moving on. Next up, we do have the Terrifying Conqueror stage. This is... I'm not sure if this is right. I didn't make it this far on JP, so I'm going to assume the wiki is correct. But Terrifying Conquerors is the effective category with a 45% damage reduction here from 837 to stage 838 against Baseball Yamcha. I'm going to assume that's correct. I'm not sure, but if you're running Terrifying Conquerors, you've got a whole host of options here. You have the Cooler, obviously. You have the Ginyu if you've got them. Sub-leads, you have Turles. You have the free-to-play Demon King Piccolo. You have Salza. And your free-to-play Raccoon are some options. There's also different leads you could run. Like if you decided to run Full Power Frieza, Sworn Enemies, there's a Sworn Enemies style team you could run using all Frieza characters. So definitely some options to run there for Terrifying Conquerors. It is quite the expansive category and basically covers most of the villains aside from Cell and Kid Buu and Goku Black. Alright, so easy 1, 2 stages, that's all you'll need it for. Now on to the hardest set of stages with a 45% damage reduction. These guys hit the hardest, and I've heard a lot of people talking about how hard this can get towards the end, especially since Universal Survival Saga as a category is starting to fall off, believe it or not. From stage 839, you have the Fit Buu all the way down to stage 1000, final stage against the Goku and Frieza LR with a 50% damage reduction. Again, your effective category for all of these stages is Universe Survival Saga. These are the hardest hitting characters. It's gonna take you a while to clear through this last sort of 100 stages or so. Universe Survival Saga leaders are pretty much unchanged since last year, but you have the Jiren, you have the Frieza and 17, you have Goku and Hit, you have the Hit by himself, or you have Kaioken Goku or STR Jiren. Sub-leads, there's pretty much no good sub-leads. These are all 77% leads. Would not recommend running them at this stage. You could run either the AGL Goku, the Goku and Frieza, or the Int Vegeta here, or representatives of Universe 7, and honestly, I would recommend running him as the lead, since the final 3 stages are all tech, and they're going to be the most difficult. Having 2 Int-type characters like the Vegeta on the team are definitely good. And the more Universe 7 type characters you use, you can take advantage of guys like the Universe 7 and 17 here. So, that is Dokkan Battle All-Stars. There are 1,000 stages. This is sort of my rough guide for leads and semi-team builds you can run for all 1,000 stages. If you manage to complete all the stages, however long it takes you, doesn't matter. You will net yourself 277 stones, along with a bunch of Grand Kais, Elder Kais, Zenny, and a crap ton of orbs and training items. So I definitely recommend you complete this all-star raid. But please, guys, take your time. Don't rush through it. There is no rush to get this done, unless you really need the stones for Worldwide Celebration coming up. So anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this guide to the All-Star Raid. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know if there's a specific set of stages that you think you're mostly going to need help with in this All-Star Raid, and maybe I can put together some teams for you to help out on those stages. So if you stayed tuned till the end, thank you guys so much, and as always, guys, thanks for watching, and aloha.